is a presentation of Fox Sports.
In just about 2 weeks, the Braves and Marlins will open their seasons in Miami. But for the second time in 2 days, we at Fox Sports will split announcers and bring you spring training baseball as National League East rivals square off in Grapefruit League baseball next.
A beautiful night for baseball in Jupiter, Florida, and it's the first day of spring as spring training 2015 continues. Tonight, National League Eastern rivals, the Atlanta Braves and Miami Marlins, square off yet again. A lot of new faces on this Atlanta Braves ball club. A lot of new faces for the Marlins, too. What should be a fun rivalry when regular season play gets underway on April the 6th. Hi again, friends. I'm Chip Carey. Great to be with you tonight with my pal Tommy Hutton. The Atlanta Braves. A lot of changes this offseason, most notably, Tommy, in the starting rotation.
Chip, always a good rivalry, the Marlins and the Braves, but no rivalry in the booth tonight.
No.
But when you talk about the starting pitchers for the Atlanta Braves, we're going to see one of those guys in their rotation tonight. It'll be Wandy Rodriguez, the veteran left-hander who we saw over the years with the Houston Astros. Twice he was the Astros pitcher of the year. But Julio Teheran, Shelby Miller, Alex Wood, these guys solidified a pretty good rotation. One guy that's not in the rotation might be in May, maybe June, is the left-hander Mike Minor. But Teheran, who had an ERA under 3 last year, Shelby Miller coming over from the St. Louis Cardinals, and the funk master, the guy with the funky delivery, Alex Wood, settles in the number 3 spot, and it looks like Wandy will be the number 4 starter.
You mentioned the word veteran starting pitcher. That applies to the man going for the Marlins tonight. What has Dan Herron provided this club so far?
Dan Herron has had a good spring, and I'll tell you what, every manager in the major leagues would take a guy, a 34-year-old veteran, who's had 10 straight years of 30 or more starts and 10 straight years of 10 or more wins.
Well, that sounds like a plan for the Marlins. Dan Herron, Wandy Rodriguez. Should be a fun night for baseball. Happy first day of spring as spring training continues here in sunny South Florida.
This
Florida feels like the surface of the sun today. It was blazing hot today, upper 80s, 86 at the moment, but a beautiful night for baseball here at Roger Dean Stadium.
I think everybody out there, Chip, the Braves and the Marlins are happy it's a night game tonight.
Yes, no doubt about it. Should cool off nicely, and here's how the Braves come to town with Eric Young trying to win an outfield job for the Braves to lead off. Jace Peterson, good-looking rookie second baseman. Will Batten plays second. Freddie Freeman at first. Zoileo Almonte, Andrelton Simmons, Chris Johnson. Then the lower third, Yuri Perez, Jesus Flores behind the plate, and Wandy Rodriguez will pitch.
Well, there's a good look at the veteran right-hander. 34 years old is Dan Herron. Stands 6'5". You know, he's not an overpowering pitcher, but he has command of a lot of different pitches. He'll throw a curve, he'll throw a split, he cuts his fastball, moves the ball in and out. That's how he's had a lot of success. 142 career wins for Dan Herron.
So Herron's ready to go. So is Mike Redmond. And the Marlins tonight. Braves beat them 6-3 yesterday back in Disney. This is the second and final spring meeting between these clubs. Of course, as Tommy mentioned in our opening commentary, these clubs will meet on opening day at Marlins Park April 6th. Can't wait for that. Can't wait to see how this one unfolds tonight with Eric Young set to lead off for Atlanta. And we are underway. Adam Hamari, by the way, has the plate. And Eric Young's had himself, Tommy, a terrific spring.
Which I think is good for the Braves because they need a guy at the top of the order. They need a guy who can play in the outfield. Eric Young had 30 steals last year for the Mets. So Freddie Gonzalez happy from what he's seen.
That one led her high in a strike. Young at 257 on the spring. He's hit a homer. He's knocked in 8 runs. But as you said, he's gotten on base a lot. And last year, the Braves tried numerous different men in the #1 spot in the order. Jason Hayward got most of those at bats. Young will start the game with a clean single to right. And Young aboard to start the game for the Braves. Let's see if Freddie Gonzalez does some running early. That is, too, something the Braves have emphasized in the first 2 weeks.
You know, one of the things we talked about Dan Herron, he has to have command because he's not overpowering when he leaves a pitch out over the plate in that area. Most major league hitters are going to have pretty good swings. So Eric Young with a good swing there.
So Young aboard in front of Jace Peterson. Peterson, Padres in the Justin Upton deal. And at the moment, he is far and away the leader in the clubhouse for the starting second baseman job for the Braves. A .355 average. And they give this kid, Tommy, the ultimate baseball compliment. And that compliment is he's a baseball player.
You know, how many times do you have people who are fringe fans and they'll ask you, what's that mean? They're all baseball players. This guy's a baseball player.
He's a grinder. He soaks up every bit of information. Talking with Terry Pendleton, the Braves first base coach and former National League MVP, he said the minute you start talking to this kid about what he needs to do or what he needs to improve on, he said you can already see the wheels turning on how to apply it. Very coachable, great kid. And a check swing roller to the right side. And the flip to first gets Peterson by a step. Young to second with one man down. Freddie Freeman's bat's ready for the opener. Freeman at .370 with a couple of homers and 7 RBIs this spring.
You know, when you have a guy, just to get back to Jace Peterson, who is the young player who'll soak in things, and he has a guy like Freddie Freeman around him, that just helps him more.
No doubt. And Freeman now moving into veteran status on this Braves club. Does have some more help in that regard in the Atlanta clubhouse now. They acquired A.J. Brzezinski. They got Johnny Gomes. And that's something, Tommy, the Braves talked about this offseason, a leadership vacuum that they suffered through last season. Big swing and a miss.
I'll say one thing, that Freddie Freeman is just hoping that 2015 is a little bit better for him against the Marlins than it was last year.
Yeah, wasn't that something?
That was an anomaly.
Marlins really held Freeman down at the plate last year. This ball bounced toward Mike Morse at first. That'll be an easy play. Young to third with 2 outs. So Herron gives up the leadoff hit, then gets 2 soft ground ball outs. And here's a look at the Marlin D.
Well, there it is with Christian Yelich, who won a Gold Glove last year in left field. Ichiro Suzuki and Giancarlo Stanton. Terrific young outfield. Echeverria, Jeff Baker up the middle. Martin Prado, Braves fans familiar with Martin. Michael Morris at first base. And Jared Saltalamacchia behind the plate.
Ichiro in center. I think that's something fans all around the league are going to wonder. Tommy has ground ball. Diving stop by Baker at second. And the throw dug out by Michael Morse. Nice play by Jeff Baker. He robs Zoleo Almonte of an RBI hit. Giancarlo Stanton and the Fish coming up in a scoreless bottom of the first. Here at Roger Dean Stadium, let's check out the Marlins starting 9. Ichiro will lead things off. He's the center field, as we showed you. Christian Yelich has had a big week. Then Giancarlo Stanton, Michael Morse, the cleanup man, Martin Prado, Jeff Baker, Jared Saltalamacchia, former Brave behind the plate, Danny Echeverria, the shortstop. Herron will pitch and bat ninth, and Wandy Rodriguez has opened some eyes in Atlanta camp.
You know, it's been a struggle for Wandy Rodriguez the last couple of years with various injuries. Had a knee injury last year. You see just 6 games as a Pittsburgh Pirate, but most known during his time with the Houston Astros. Twice, Wandy Rodriguez was the pitcher of the year for the Astros. 5'10", 36 years old. He's been around and looks like he'll be the number 4 starter for the Braves.
Yeah, Freddie Gonzalez was talking about that with us before the game. As Ichiro jumps all over the first pitch and rips it foul to the right field corner.
You talk about a guy who's been fun to watch all spring, Ichiro, playing center field, so he brings up the average age of that young outfield. Ichiro 41, but he'll get opportunities to spell Marcell Ozuna, as he is tonight in center field. He can play left, maybe give Stanton a day off once in a while. He'll DH in some American where the DH is used.
And his first 2 swings show you why this man is so great a hitter. He hits a rocket down the right field line, then sprays one foul down the left field line. And he dribbles that one foul at first and stays alive, 0-2. Rich and Joe were talking yesterday about the story with Ichiro when he was with the Mariners, and he was getting pounded with fastballs and swinging late fouling balls like lasers over the Cubs dugout one day in spring training in Arizona. And Lou Piniella looked at him one day and said, "Look, son, I need you to show me you can pull the ball every now and then." And this ball's dribbled towards Simmons at short. Andrelton flips to first in time. There's the out. So the next pitch, Kerry Wood throws a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Ichiro hits it onto the pavilion in Mesa and rounds third base and looks at Lou and said, "Did I pull the ball well enough for you?"
If you're an infielder, and Andrelton Simmons does it as well as anybody, you have to be quick, too, with these first 2 guys, Ichiro and now Christian Yelich. So any little bobble, and either one of those guys is going to beat it out.
And the same's true, of course, if D. Gordon's playing, too, right? What a week for Christian Yelich. 3 years old. Published reports.
Press conference on Sunday, and just being around Christian Yelich a little bit today and seeing the smile much bigger than it was the day before, you have a feeling that everything has worked out just fine, and rightfully so.
I mean, I love watching this kid play. I mean, as a Braves broadcaster, we want to see him make outs as often as we possibly can, but as a baseball fan, what a terrific talent Christian Yelich is. And what a great spot to hit in the big leagues in front of Giancarlo Stanton. That's off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It'll be interesting, Chip, to see with Freddie Gonzalez as his rotation works out with Alex Wood and Wandy Rodriguez, back-to-back left-handers. So a lot of that depends on who you're playing, if he'll stay with that.
Little flare to left, and that'll be caught on the line. Eric Young Jr. makes the catch, and there's the second out for Wandy Rodriguez.
And why don't we give you the defense for the Atlanta Braves tonight? There's Eric Young Jr., Yuri Perez, Zoilo Almonte in right field, 2-time Gold Glover Anderson Simmons in short, Jace Peterson, his double play partner, Chris Johnson, Freddie Freeman at the corners, and Jesus Flores behind the plate.
Yeah, Christian Bethancourt figures to be the Braves' everyday catcher. Freddie Gonzalez told us before the game that he's got a bit of a flu bug, fever today. They're hoping he'll be able to catch back in Orlando tomorrow, but that remains to be seen. So Flores made the trip south from Disney.
I actually read a note where he came into the clubhouse yesterday, and Freddie said, "Get out of here quick. I mean, don't spread this thing around," which can happen in spring training camps.
Yeah, how about Milwaukee? You heard about the Brewers earlier this year. They had a run of pink eye going through the clubhouse.
They were forbidden to give high fives.
Well, I'm all in favor of that. But you're right. This is the time of spring where, yeah, fevers and the colds and all that stuff. Don't want that to happen with opening day just a couple of weeks away. And strike 3. Wandy Rodriguez works a perfect bottom of the first for Atlanta. We go to the second, no score. More A-list memberships today and receive a Saturday meet and greet with All-Star closer Craig Kimbrell. The sale ends tonight at midnight, and A-list memberships start at just $218. Visit Braves.com/A-list and reserve your seats for the upcoming season today. You'd like to have a chat with Craig Kimbrell, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I look at Craig Kimbrell. I think of 42 or more saves, 4 consecutive years. This guy's tough.
Here we go, second inning at Roger Dean Stadium. Big crowd here tonight. This, I understand, Tommy, the only night game of the Marlins spring schedule.
It's the, I believe, the only night game here at Roger Dean. I don't think the Cardinals, who share this facility, I don't think they have a night game.
We've got fans on the berm. They've got fans in the cool zone down the right field line. The seats beyond the Marlins bullpen look full, so Good turnout on the first day of spring. Driven to right by Andrelton Simmons. That's tracked down by Giancarlo Stanton. And Herron gets his first fly ball out of the night. One away for Chris Johnson.
You know, we like to give you a scouting report for the pitchers in the ball game. The scouting report for Dan Herron. We talked about the consistency. 30 or more starts, 10 straight years, 10 or more wins, 10 straight years. It gives you a little of this, a little of that. And in order to have success, he has to have command.
How do you like the Marlins rotation as it looks to stack up beginning on April 6th?
It looks very solid. It'll be led off, and as you mentioned, the Marlins will see the Braves opening day, April 6th. Henderson Alvarez will get things going. He have no hit on his resume. Then it's either going to be Matt Latos or Jared Kozart, top three. And then you're looking at Dan Herron, the number 4 starter. Probably Tom Kohler, number 5. And Marlins have a few options that can go into number 5 or the bullpen. Brad Hand, David Phelps. So looks pretty solid. And then, of course, the big news for Mike Redmond will be late June, early July when he gets Jose Fernandez back.
And that's a real nice problem to have, isn't it? As Herron delivers a strike to Yuri Perez. He's fighting for a backup outfield job with the Braves. There are still a few jobs in the outfield for Atlanta, and much of that has to do with the availability of Nick Markakis. As that ball's hammered into left field, and that'll get down for a 2-out hit for Perez. Big turnaround first, but he'll slam on the brakes.
And you heard some news from Freddie Gonzalez.
Yeah, Freddie said today that Nick is starting to take live batting practice, coach batting practice, not live pitching from any of the Braves minor leaguers. But Freddie said Nick feels great. They're hopeful that he'll be ready to go opening day. If he's not, then there'll be another outfield possibility yet to be decided for Atlanta. Here's Jesus Flores, the 8th place hitter, and he'll bat with 2 out. The Braves came to camp, Tommy, with an astounding number of players, but an even more astounding number of catchers. They had 11 of them at one time. Christian Bethancourt, as we said, figures to be the number 1 guy. They've brought in A.J. Przinsky, and former Marlin John Buck is still with the club. He's trying to force his way onto the roster right now. Last year, the Braves carried 3 catchers. Don't know if they'll carry 3 this year.
Well, you have the luxury of a guy like Evan Gattis who could go out to the outfield. But you couldn't have 2 more qualified veterans than Przinsky and John Buck.
Both have had a good run so far in spring training. Two strikes on Flores. Flores a good lead at first. Saltalamacchia, a nice stop. 1-2. Echeverria. Backhand flip. Did Baker hold the bag? He did. What a play. Echeverria shows off some brilliant range, and Baker with a stretch forces Perez and sends this game to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Still no score at Roger Dean Stadium. What a play. Tommy, if you like good shortstop play, you've got a treat tonight, don't you?
I'll tell you what, you have a treat tonight. You have a treat when the Marlins and Braves match up, because you're always going to see Adeiny Echeverria and Andrelton Simmons make some dazzling plays.
Simmons, a Gold Glove winner the last 2 years. In fact, one time a Platinum Glove winner. At shortstop for Atlanta. Wandy Rodriguez, after a perfect first, goes after Michael Morse to start the Miami second. Big man, big power, big numbers this spring. And I'm sure the Marlins are hoping big upgrade defensively at first base.
Well, not only defensively, but Michael Morse is going to settle into that number 4 spot and protect Giancarlo Stanton. Got some big hits for the world champion Giants last year. Has always hit left-handers extremely well.
One homer away from 100 in his big league career. And a 4-pitch walk puts him at first for Martin Prado. This is a man that Braves fans know very well. Martin Prado was one of the more popular Braves players in modern memory. Great leader in the clubhouse, could play anywhere on the field. Infectious personality, kept everybody in check in the locker room. Marlins fans are going to love this guy.
Yeah, they really are. And Martin told me before the game, he said, the Braves, he'll always have tremendous memories because that was the organization that gave him the opportunity.
Martin went to the Diamondbacks, the Yankees, now here in Miami. And to tell you a little story about Martin Prado, a couple of years ago when Chipper Jones had his number retired for the Braves, when he mentioned some of his favorite teammates, remember the Braves had 14 straight division championships, Glavine and Smoltz and Maddox and the like. Martin Prado was a guy that Chipper Jones mentioned in his retirement number speech on the field at Turner Field. To me, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, that's tremendous. He's one of those guys that a manager never has to worry about. And Freddie Gonzalez said today, he said, not only do you not have to worry about Martin Prado, because he's in your lineup and on your ball club, there are 3 or 4 other guys you don't have to worry about because he takes care of them.
And not only can he play third base, he can play second, he can play the outfield. And if you ever need him to play first base in an emergency, he can pick it with the best of them over there too. So terrifically versatile and valuable player. Fooled by that pitch, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Lately in the National League, especially over the last 8 or 10 years, with most clubs carrying 12 pitchers, you have fewer guys on the bench. And so versatile players like a Prado, like a Donnie Kelly, who the Marlins have in camp, guys like that can stay around for quite a while.
Morris a very short lead at first. And Prado pops it to short, and he'll be retired for the first out. So 1 away. Jeff Baker, the batter. And speaking of versatile players, Baker's one of those too.
Well, he's a guy who certainly showed his versatility and did a tremendous job for the Marlins last year. Played 3 different positions, hit over 300 as a pinch hitter, and actually at one time was a Brave.
That's right, very briefly. So what are his odds of making this club? I mean, we were talking before the game. It strikes me that 2.5 weeks left to go in spring training. The Braves still have a lot of decisions to make as to the makeup of their club. I don't know if that's really the case right now for the Marlins.
Well, Baker's on the club. He's a guy who certainly has a nice major league pedigree. And he's on the team. You look at extra men. I mentioned Donnie Kelly. You have Donovan Solano. Got Reed Brignac, who's been around for a little bit, who has some versatility himself. Another former Brave, Reed Johnson, battling for a spot.
Wandy Rodriguez with an 87-mile-an-hour fastball called a strike.
Heard somebody talk about teams in spring training, and the comment they made was the fewer positions and holes you have to fill, the better chance you're going to have a good year.
Right.
If you go to spring training and you're at this part, you're halfway through, you've got about 8 places to fill, you're going to have a long year.
And that's really the difference between these two clubs right now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And popped out of play. That's why I think Marlins fans ought to be thrilled to death with where this team stands right now with 2 weeks to go in spring training. I'm hoping to see a gigantic crowds that entire opening series beginning April 6th. From an outsider's perspective, I like your team a lot.
Well, it's
really do.
You know, for a ball club that lost 100 games 2 years ago and came back last year to win 77, the next leap is always the toughest. To try to win 87 to 90 is a lot tougher. But the Marlins have put together a solid ball club. There's Marcell Ozuna, who's not in the lineup tonight, hit 23 home runs last year as center fielder.
Full count pitch coming for Jeff Baker. And popped out of play. Before Giancarlo got hit last year, it seemed to me that the Marlins were starting to really gain momentum and gain steam in the National League East. I don't know from an insider's perspective if they felt like they had a taste of what a pennant race was like. And
they did.
That serves them well coming into spring this year.
It was a tough blow when Giancarlo was hit. And because of that, things certainly fell off the last few weeks.
But I would think those young players who had a taste of that probably couldn't wait to get back at it this spring. As that's low to Baker. Walk number 2, I should say, for Wandy Rodriguez. 2 are on with 1 out for Saltalamacchia.
It's interesting how things come full circle as you look at Freddie Gonzalez with Wandy Rodriguez on the mound, who was signed as a free agent, signed out of the Dominican by the Astros. Yet his favorite team when he signed when he was a kid growing up, the Atlanta Braves.
Well, here he is. And as we mentioned, he's made this team. Gonzalez said this is not a make or break start for Wandy Rodriguez.
And a guy who was initially drafted by the Braves steps in to hit, Jared Saltalamacchia.
That's right. He's got a chance to play close to home. Second season with the Marlins. 1 ball, no strikes. 2 on here in the Miami second. Down the left field line, and that ball is foul. And an even count, 1 ball, 1 strike. New league for Saltalamacchia, new pitching staff, playing close to home. All things for Jared that are no longer foreign to him. What do you look for from him this year?
Yeah, I think he would not make excuses about that. But coming over from the champion Boston Red Sox, signing a nice contract, a 3-year deal with the Marlins, coming home, so to speak, I think he put a little extra pressure on himself, and I think that's different now. And I look for Saltalamacchia to bring all of his numbers up, offensively and defensively.
A little low, 2 balls and a strike. I'll tell you this, if the Marlins had a flag football team between Stanton, Saltalamacchia, and Morris, I think you'd have a pretty good offensive line. Big cut, didn't get it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
They could throw Dan Herron and Matt Latos.
Some big boys.
Too, yeah.
Some big boys on this squad. And fouled away, will stay 2-2.
You know, early on we talked about Wandy Rodriguez and Dan Herron. Talked about the consistency in Herron. Well, Wandy as a lefty with the Astros for the most part of his career. Had 5 seasons where he won 10 or more games. At 5 years where he started 30 or more games.
And that's what Wandy Rodriguez can do. He lulls you to sleep and then muscles up to 88. And it looks like 98. Saul Tulamaki is down on strikes.
That's a good point, Chip. He's one of those guys that can get away with that. He's one of those guys that hides the ball well. And you see him throw mid to upper 80s fastballs by hitters, even though he doesn't have that mid 90s fastball.
Well, he knows how to win. Since 2005, only 2 other left-handers have won more games in the National League than Wandy Rodriguez. You've heard of him. Clayton Kershaw and Cole Hamels are the 2 in front of Wandy Rodriguez in that category. So Braves are hoping to strike gold with a man that was available for just about anybody to claim. He's pitched himself at the moment into Braves rotation. Echeverria, a little tapper toward third. Chris Johnson's got it. And the toss across is in time. Rodriguez pitches around, a couple of walks in the second inning. We head to the third. 0-0. Dean Stadium, no score. We head to the top of the third inning. Our first guest has joined us. President of Baseball Operations for the Marlins, Mike Hill, is here. And Mike, congratulations, as we said when you came in the booth, on an amazing offseason for this Miami ball club. What a whirlwind, huh?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A busy offseason for us. We had a lot that we wanted to accomplish, and for the most part, we were successful in getting done what we wanted to get done.
Mike, did it all kind of start the ball rolling and get underway with the contract signing of Giancarlo?
That was priority one. This offseason was to make sure that the big man was under contract, and once we were able to accomplish that, it really put things in place for us. We knew what we wanted to do, knowing that we had the big man in the middle of that lineup.
That's how to play off the bat of Wandy Rodriguez. Dan Herron quickly ahead of him. No balls, 2 strikes. What does it say to fans around the country that you've been able to, as you said, sign Giancarlo Stanton and appear to be on the verge of taking care of Mr. Yelich?
Well, it's a message and one that we wanted out pretty much from the beginning of last year, is that, you know, we're here to win consistently, and that's our goal. We want those 14 banners that are hanging in Atlanta. That looks pretty good. I always look at that when we go into Atlanta. Those 14 banners are quite nice, and that's the ultimate goal, is to give yourself an opportunity year in and year out to be competitive, to win ball games, to play into October, play meaningful games, and win championships. And that's the goal of our owner, Jeffrey Loria, David Sampson, myself, Dan Jennings, our leadership group. That's what we want to do. We want to bring a perennial contender to South Florida and win as many games as possible.
Beautiful pitch from Herron. Got Wandy Rodriguez, strike 3.
It's one thing, and I know talking about Dan Jennings and the leadership group in finding the different players, it's one thing to go out and look at stat sheets and look at baseball cards, but it's another thing to put together the group of guys that you have with character, guys who are good in the clubhouse.
No, and that's something that, you know, I've been here now my 13th season with the Marlins, and you're mindful of that chemistry. You always want to have as much talent as you possibly can, but teams win championship, and I think we knew that from our 03 championship, and you've seen it year in and year out with the teams that get into October and the teams that ultimately bring home the World Series championship. They have talent, but they're a team, and they play together. They support one another. They do the little things to help one another be successful, and that's a culture that we've wanted to create and build here with the Miami Marlins, and I think we're well on our way.
I was going to say, it seems like Mike, players want to play here. When you read Martin Prado, when you acquired him, I'm all in with being a Miami Marlin. When you see a player of the caliber of Ichiro Suzuki agreeing to contract terms with the Marlins, Dan Herron wants to play for the Marlins, all of those things have to be incredibly pleasing for you all and for your fan base, frankly.
Yeah, it just speaks to the job that Mike Redmond and his staff has done, the culture that they've created. It didn't happen overnight, and Tommy can attest because he's been here also. We've had some lean years and some long years, and we needed to make some changes, and I think we made some tough decisions and some tough calls, and hopefully we're on the backside of that, and we're starting to see the fruit of all of those decisions, and suffice to say we're very excited for the upcoming season and seasons to come.
Bunt try. Prado sniffed that out, and Eric Young Jr. is out at first. He's 1 for 2 out.
So you had to be pleased at the beginning of spring training when you saw the T-shirts that the team was wearing. The T-shirt that says Team First, and on the back it says 305 Club, the area code of Miami.
The message has been consistent,
yeah.
And it started last year, and it's interesting. Chip just talked about being all in, and that was a message that it's one that will follow us every year. Ground ball to Jeff Baker here to get our third out.
The man wants to do play-by-play on the team.
I forgot to tell you that, Chip.
Mike, you did a great job. Stick around. We'll talk a little more when we get to the bottom of the third. Tommy Hutton, Chip Carey, Mike Hill with us, and anytime you see the Marlins, everybody around baseball who loves great young pitching wants to know, how's Jose Fernandez doing?
Jose is progressing very well, and I say this a lot. We are an injury, serious injury like Tommy John. You want to be cautious because it is such a traumatic injury, but his rehab has gone well. He's met each and every threshold with flying colors. He's attacked the rehab process with the same ferocity that he attacked hitters on the mound. So that's definitely good to see. And it's just great to see that smiling face around the clubhouse and bouncing around. And, we're all looking forward to that day when we can get him back on the mound.
Tough to keep him back, tough to keep him under control and follow those recovery protocols that the doctors have set up for him?
Well, as anyone who knows him, he's a bundle of energy, and he wants to be out there. He wants to be out there for his teammates, and that's what's so refreshing about Jose. But we've spent many an hour just explaining to him the importance of taking it one step at a time. As Dan Herron punches out there, just as Jose taking it one step at a time and knowing that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And we want him to be healthy and successful for a long time. We're talking about a 22-year-old young man with an incredibly bright future ahead of him. We don't want to be short-sighted as we look at his future, and we're not going to cut corners for a day or two here, knowing that there's so much more at stake for him. But so far so good, cautiously optimistic. Everything's gone great, and we're just looking for the day when we can get him back on that mound.
Mike, how fun has it been watching the 41-year-old Ichiro Suzuki go about his business during spring training?
Well, there's no secret why he's one of the best players to ever put on a uniform in this country or Japan. Just unbelievably prepared, takes incredible care of himself, and is just a true professional in terms of preparation and the mental toughness and all the things that allow a player to be successful and still play at such a high level.
Bouncing ball out toward Jace Peterson at second. Ichiro down the line in good shape. You always see that from him. And quickly, 2 men are out for Christian Yelich. Again, Mike, from an outsider's perspective, this Marlins team reminds me of the Braves in 1991 in this regard. The core of your club is so talented and so young. It really does have a chance to grow up and grow great together for a long time.
And that's really what we saw also, Chip. Our 2013 season was a rough season in that we lost 100 games. But anyone around the ball club, we took it as a positive because we got to answer so many questions. We got to really identify that core that we wanted to move forward with. And you saw the fruits of that starting to show last year as Christian Yelich develops and explodes on the scene, wins a Gold Glove. Marcell Ozuna has a tremendous offensive season in center field. And Dini Echeverria takes a huge step forward offensively and defensively. And as Christian rolls out to Freddie Freeman there to end the inning, I'm done with you guys. Am I done?
Mike, yeah, but you did a good job with
great.
The play-by-play.
You're better than the guys sitting to your left, that's for sure. Mike, good luck to you and the Marlins the rest of the way.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
He must be a politician, Tommy. But he picked a great night to see a ball game. Scoreless after 3 here at Roger Dean Stadium. Freeman, Almonte, and Andrelton Simmons coming up for the Braves. Dan Herron's looked sharp. He's given up just 2 hits. Wandy Rodriguez is not allowed a hit to the Marlins. He has walked 2, but he struck out 3. And Freeman is down a strike. Nothing in 1 your count.
Chip, I can ask you, you're around the Atlanta Braves a lot more than I am, even though we do see them a lot. Has Freddie Freeman taken a hold of a leadership type role?
I think more and more that's happening. I think when I talked earlier about the so-called leadership void that the Braves had in their clubhouse, wasn't that guys didn't want to lead, but they really didn't know how to lead. And when you think of the guys that left the Braves organization through retirement, Chipper Jones, or free agency, Tim Hudson, or trade, and free agency and Brian McCann, that is a big, big hole from a leadership standpoint in your locker room. And so Jason Hayward and Freddie Freeman, young guys who wanted to lead the ball club but were probably a little reluctant to do so, now are starting to, in the case of Freeman, be a little more vocal, along with a Craig Kimbrell. These are veteran guys, successful guys, but with a Johnny Gomes and an A.J. Brzezinski, veteran guys who've been there before and have had winning and championship seasons. Those are guys that can shoulder some of that load until Freeman can take over the mantle himself, I think. And ball 4 for Freeman. He walks to lead off the Atlanta 4th.
Well, and in watching a player like Freddie Freeman over the last few years, he just kind of leads because he goes out there and plays hard. He doesn't miss many games. I think he's averaged about 155 games the last 4 years. He's an excellent first baseman.
So like the Marlins, the Braves too have a good young core of talent with Freeman, with Simmons, with Mike Minor, who you mentioned, Craig Kimbrell, et cetera, and more importantly, from Atlanta's perspective, they were able to restock the farm system this offseason when John Hart took over as the club's president of baseball operations. Soleil Almonte bats and fouls one away.
And I think when you add to the mix, when he gets back healthy and hopefully he's ready for the beginning of the season, and Nick Markakis, Markakis just 31 years old, but a guy who's a .290 career hitter, a guy who's been a productive hitter over his career. That's a big piece of the puzzle, especially in that outfield. In that outfield, which will have a very different look in 2015 for Atlanta. Last year it was Justin Upton, then B.J. Upton, but now Melvin Upton, and Jason Hayward. It will be Markakis in right. It appears Eric Young Jr. will be in center field, and then Johnny Gomes and a platoon in left field for Freddie Gonzalez. Well, and you mentioned a guy in Johnny Gomes who certainly knows how to lead.
No doubt. No doubt about that. Almonte took one right down Broadway for a called third strike.
We talked about how Dan Herron can just kind of lull you, and then all of a sudden, paint, good pitch, terrific movement. Dan Herron, a second-round pick of the Cardinals back in 2001. Making his 4th start this spring, and he's had a good spring.
Andrelton Simmons flying out his first time up. And he tries to bunt. Saltalamacchia stumbled, couldn't make the play, and that'll be a bunt hit. What in the world happened to Jarrett on that play? I don't know if he stumbled over his mask or he just flat out lost it. But an odd-looking play, and the Braves have their 3rd hit.
Well, let's get a better look. A little bit of that, a little bit of this. The ball had some spin on it, and I don't think it went in the direction where Saltalamacchia first thought it would, and I also don't think he picked it up right away. And by the time he found it, that's when he lost his footing.
So 2 on for the Braves with 1 out, and Chris Johnson the batter. Chris lined out to short his first time up. Tale of 2 seasons for Chris Johnson. Flirted with a batting title 2 years ago and then struggled mightily to make consistent contact for Atlanta last year.
And I would imagine Atlanta fans want to find out, okay, which Chris Johnson do we have here in 2015? I would say somewhere in the middle. I don't think he's going to flirt for a batting title. but I think he's better than his 263 of last year.
And no swing on that pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. Braves have a new hitting coach this year. Kevin Seitzer has assumed that role. Greg Walker stepped down at the end of the season last year, is still in the Braves organization as a special assistant to the general manager, working in the minor leagues. But Kevin Seitzer's approach is shorten your stroke with 2 strikes and think middle of the field.
Boy, Kevin Seitzer had a couple of years. I think he had back-to-back years of over 200 hits with the Kansas City Royals. He was one of those guys who could produce line drives all the time.
Two balls and a strike for Chris Johnson. And a bouncer foul past Bo Porter, who's also new to the Braves staff. He's the new Atlanta third base coach.
But not new to Marlins fans. Bo Porter, at one time a Marlin coach, then of course moved on as the Astros manager. But back in the league as the Braves third base coach. Braves brought a good team for this game, and they also spend the night here in the area and play the Cardinals tomorrow. But they have a game. Freddie Gonzalez was telling me they have a game in Orlando tomorrow. Split squad.
Yep, split squad game tomorrow. And Eric Stoltz is going to start that game for the Braves against the Nationals. Chen-Ming Wang will pitch against the Cardinals here. Very nice of you, by the way, to host the Braves after the game for a barbecue before the matchup here tomorrow.
Well, we talked about it. Since I'm not too far from here, we decided to have everybody over. Not sure if my wife knows that yet. But
surprise, surprise. 2 balls, 2 strikes for Chris Johnson. Perfect night for baseball. Hot and sunny all day today, but a beautiful night.
I think it's mainly because of travel, but I am really surprised that more night games aren't played in spring training. Because when the season starts, that's all you play, night games.
Did you have a preference? And did you, as Chris Johnson shoots one toward left, that would get down for a base hit. Here comes Freeman around third, and he is going to score standing up. Chris Johnson with an RBI hit scores the game's first run, and the Braves take a 1-0 lead. So the leadoff walk comes back to haunt Herron.
Not a bad pitch, but a little bit too much of the plate, maybe up a little. Chris Johnson doesn't miss that too often, but he's had a slow spring, working on a few things. That's just his 4th hit this spring.
But he puts the Braves in front. Did you as a player have a preference in day games, night games, and spring training? And back then, did you guys have many night games in the spring?
No, back in that era, in the 70s, most of the spring training games were day games.
Daytime.
Because there weren't many games on television.
Yuri Perez, the batter. He's got a hit tonight. Braves got him off waivers from the Yankees. Mentioned earlier all the transactions that Atlanta made this offseason. 9 trades. They signed 7 major league free agents, 21 minor league free agents, a Rule 5 pick, and a waiver claim. So John Hart and John Coppolella totally remodeled the Braves' 40-man roster this offseason. Yuri Perez, one of those new faces trying to win a job. He drives one towards Stanton and right. That's going to be playable. And Giancarlo's got it. There's the second out.
I think, Chip, one of the issues with night games in the spring is that you're talking about minor league ballparks. You don't quite have the same lighting that you have during a major league night game at a major league park. They're good lights, but not quite up to the standard of major league lights.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Another meeting on the mound with Saltalamacchia and Dan Herron. As Jesus Flores, the batter, he was robbed up the middle by Echeverria back in the Atlanta second.
Tell Dan Herron right now at 50 pitches. I'm sure would like to at least get 5 innings in this one tonight. But I think as you watch him pitch, you see the occasional curveball, you see the occasional splitter, kind of a tumbler that moved downward. You see cut fastballs. Mentioned he was drafted by the Cardinals back in 01 out of Pepperdine.
Dribbled toward first. Nice play by Morse at the bag. He'll step on the pillow, and that'll retire the side. Atlanta cashes in a leadoff walk. Hey, stay tuned. Jose Fernandez will join us from the Marlins dugout. You want to join us for that right after this. Star closer Craig Kimbrell by purchasing 2 or more A-list memberships starting at just $218 a seat. The sale ends tonight at midnight. Visit Braves.com/A-list to get your tickets. A lot more fun to talk with Craig Kimbrell, Tommy, than it is to face him in the batter's box, I would think.
He has that devastating Silver Surfer stance to get ready. He's tough.
Bottom 4, Atlanta 1, Miami nothing. 10 consecutive scoreless innings this spring for Wandy Rodriguez.
That's your kind of shirt right there, Chip.
Bottom right?
Yeah, bottom right.
I like the hat, too. They've got it all covered. They've got the floral shirt, the hat, and the dog. I didn't know it was Bark in the Park night tonight.
Let's see if Giancarlo has a little better approach than last time. Last time, Wandy Rodriguez got him striking out, caught him looking on a pretty good pitch.
That's a pitch that I was going to ask you about. Has he seen much of that this spring?
He's seen a couple, and I think he helped in the design of that face guard. And I think he's handled it very well.
1 ball, 1 strike, and another high strike off the corner.
And I don't think there was ever really much doubt as to if Giancarlo Stanton would come back and have a problem with it.
Swing and a miss at a breaking ball. Rodriguez strikes out Stanton for a second time, and man in the dugout for Miami knows a thing or two about the strikeout ball. Jose Fernandez.
Jose, Tommy Hutton, Chip Carey up here. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
Fantastic. You see how good I'm doing.
I know you're going to get pummeled with sunflower seeds, but before it gets too bad,
wow.
What's been the toughest part during this process?
It's been lonely. It's been tough. Being patient it's been tough, but just trying to get there and looking forward to be back.
I think all of baseball's looking forward to having you back, as Tommy said. A bright smile most of the time as your teammates pelt you with the sunflower seeds. 1-1 pitch. Got on and missed.
I know the tough part for you will be when you continue the rehab process and the ball club starts the season. And you'll have to be watching from afar. But I know when you're in Miami and when the team's home, you'll be in that dugout, I would imagine.
I mean, of course. I don't even know what you say. Can you ask that again? Because I'm out of here. I don't know what is going on.
Who's tormenting you down there?
Lettuce and Ozuna and everybody, I think. I don't know. I'm sweating. I'm even sweating. I feel like I'm pitching.
Morse chops one, fouled at third. 2 balls, 2
I don't
strikes.
know. Okay, here's an easy one for you because guys are throwing stuff at you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've ever asked you this. Who among the pitchers that you see let's just stay with the National League. Who do you like to see pitch? Who do you like to watch?
Oh, wow, that's a good one. I'm a big fan of Krivly. Obviously, you know, the guy's a bulldog. He goes out, he got excellent stuff, and you know, it's not down to see him hurt, but that's a guy that I would love to see. You know, I like to see Strasburg, Harvey. And there's a bunch of guys that I'm missing. You know, the ground, I didn't see him that much last year, but I think his stuff is really good. And I honestly can't wait to be back on the field competing and helping my team to win.
Now, any conversations with Matt Harvey because he has gone through the same thing?
You know, a couple, and you know, it's been great, man. And everything that we talked about, I was like a month in, and he was already throwing bullpens and stuff when I had it. And we're talking about stuff, and you know, the grip and how good you feel and how you feel when you come back. And basically he said, you know, it's great, man. You feel really strong, and you pitch as I feel the same. So, you know, now that I'm doing all that, it's exactly, you know, it feels a lot stronger. And so I mean, I'm going to throw harder, or I need to throw harder. Doesn't mean that, but you know, I just need to get back and help these guys to get some wins.
Meanwhile, Wandy Rodriguez is dealing here in the Miami fourth. He struck out Stanton and Morrison. He's got Martin Prado 0-2. And that just missed. What's your day like, Jose, when you do a workout, when you do your recovery work from the Tommy John surgery?
You know, there's a lot of things. It's sad. Sometimes I can't be with the team, stretching out there and doing all that, but, you know, it's just part of it. You know, I do a lot of stuff, like I'd say 35 to 45 minutes of warming up and stuff inside, doing the hot tub and doing a lot of things, dumbbells, bands, and all that stuff. So basically, we do a lot of that. And
Jose, thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Jose.
I'm really sorry about it. I'm sorry.
Jupiter, Florida. Good pitching. Dan Herron for the Marlins. Wandy Rodriguez with 11 consecutive scoreless innings this spring for the Braves. And Wandy Rodriguez will lead things off for Atlanta. One sequence for Herron he wishes he had back. That was a leadoff walk to Freddie Freeman. That's what cost him the game's only run so far tonight. Otherwise, he's pitched terrifically.
Well, we talked about the spring that Dan Herron has had. He came into this game. This is his fourth start of the spring. His ERA was 2.00. So he's done everything to get himself ready for this year.
Big swing and a miss by Wandy Rodriguez, 0-2.
And Chip, I think there was a lot made of the fact when he was acquired by the Marlins, along with D. Gordon, there was speculation. There were reports that he wanted to stay on the West Coast. He has one more year on a contract. Dan Herron's talked about it, and talking to the Marlins executives, a lot of that was overblown. It wasn't as it was depicted in the press. And I think you talked about guys getting all in. I think if you're Dan Herron, and obviously to win 142 big league games, he's a competitor. And if you're a competitor and you see the kind of ball club you're going to have behind you, and you see the ballpark, the home ballpark that you're able to pitch in, which is a very good pitcher's park, you would be all in.
Well, I know the Marlins are happy that he is. And I agree 100%, man. Your team and your ballpark with his stuff, it's not Dodger Stadium, but it's going to pitch big. And Herron ought to be able to capitalize on that in 2015. Looking good tonight. Gets Wandy Rodriguez to roll out, and here's Eric Young. And a strike. And back our way quickly. 0-2.
So we had a couple of guys, of course, D. Gordon not in the lineup for the Marlins tonight, but a couple of guys whose dads were terrific major leaguers. Eric Young Sr. had a really nice career, and of course Tom Gordon, D. Gordon's dad, Flash. Of course, D's Flash Jr.
Both Flash Gordon and Eric Young, former Cubs. Eric Young Sr. now with the Rockies, their coaching staff. And when Eric was playing with the Cubs, Eric Young Jr. was little EY running around the Cubs clubhouse as a 7-8-year-old kid. But he's done a terrific job, and as you said, he has filled a terrific need for this Atlanta club. They've looked for a true leadoff hitter for a long time in Atlanta, and there's a chance that Young can fill that role in 2015. As he takes a called third strike for the second out. The Braves' future leadoff man is a kid named Jose Peraza, who's a second baseman by trade. He's just a kid. He got his first taste of big league camp this year and didn't swing the bat very well, but you can see what a talented player he is. He's just not ready yet. Freddie Gonzalez, when he sent him out, said he may be ready in 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months. He's a big league player. He's just not quite ready to go yet. And once he went down, that opened the door for this young man, Jace Peterson, who's probably in the top role for the starting second base job for Atlanta.
Well, I think Freddie Gonzalez put it best. He said if the season started today, Jace Peterson would be his second baseman. You saw those numbers, the batting average last year. They don't really tell the whole story for Peterson because he appeared in just 11 games with the Padres. But in the minor leagues, in AA and AAA, hit over 300.
Peterson, along with the left-handed pitcher Max Fried, the principal return for Justin Upton, who was in the last year of his contract, and the Braves were not going to be in a position to sign Justin Upton or Jason Hayward to long-term contracts, and that's why those two transactions were made this offseason.
You know, and it's always the great spring story around not only the Grapefruit League, but out in the Cactus League in Arizona. Got a young player, he's tearing it up. How's that going to translate when the season starts? Is Chris Bryant, if he's on that Chicago Cubs team, is that going to translate when the season begins? You don't know.
Yeah, the bigger story is, well, should Bryant make the club from the opening bell with Chicago, or should the Cubs send him down for 2 weeks, entering themselves another year before he's eligible for arbitration?
You know what, if obviously the Cub fans are dying to see him, but if I'm a hitter, I'd rather join the Cubs in May.
Yeah. You at least have a chance at the winds blowing out. It won't be 35 degrees. As Peterson takes ball 4, a 2-out walk. And he'll be aboard in front of Freddie Freeman. I think the bigger question will be, what will the wind patterns be like at Wrigley Field in the early days of the season if the left field bleachers aren't done?
Well, from what I've read, they're not going to be done for a couple of weeks anyway. So that could really change things.
So Peterson's at first. Freddie Freeman's in the box. He walked and scored back in the Braves' fourth. Peterson's running. The pitch, a strike. Throw to second is not, and Peterson steals second easily.
This is how, Tommy, the Braves, I think, are going to have to play in 2015. They don't have Evan Gattis, Justin Upton, or Jason Hayward. They've got to manufacture runs.
He's more than halfway to second base before Saltalamacchia got that pitch. So he stole that bag off the right-hander, Dan Herron.
That trio I mentioned for the Braves accounted for 63 homers and 192 runs last year. Those three players are gone.
Well, I think you'll see the Marlins running a lot more, too, with D. Gordon, who had 64 steals. He led the league last year. Christian Yelich had 21 stolen bases. D. Gordon had 64 steals. The Marlins last year as a team had 58.
Wow.
So they solved a couple of nice problems with a leadoff man and an everyday second baseman when they made that deal with the Dodgers.
And think of the havoc those two guys will create hitting in front of Giancarlo Stanton third. Yeah, the dirt for Freeman. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You would think you'd see a lot of fastballs.
Right.
There's D. Boy, he's got a couple of great coaches to work with him. Brett Butler, who had over 500 steals in his career. And also Perry Hill. Well-respected infield coach. He's the Marlins' first base coach, so he's worked with his defense. Brett Butler's worked with his base stealing and his bunting for a base hit.
Here's the thing about Brett Butler. Everybody in the ballpark knew he was going to bunt, and still he do it successfully. Butler, a
terrific Brave, yeah.
Freeman took a called third strike, and Herron pitches around a 2-out walk and a stolen base by Jace Peterson. Bottom part of the Miami order coming up. 5th inning, still 1-0 Atlanta.
This
Monty Rodriguez has through his first 4 innings tonight.
Well, we had him slated as the Braves' number 4 starter. The way he's pitched tonight, he's pitching like an ace. He's had command. We talked about Dan Herron, who doesn't have overpowering stuff, and the same thing applies to the 36-year-old left-hander. In and out, fastball is up. He hides the ball well. He's used a really nice curveball to get Stanton in that situation. But Wandy Rodriguez, who has won 91 games as a major leaguer, throwing the ball extremely well, has not allowed a base hit tonight.
And he'll face Baker, Saltalamacchia, and Echeverria here in the Miami 5th. Good pitchers admire good pitching, and Matt Latos has put on a headset downstairs. Hey, Matt, good evening. Wandy Rodriguez. He's just mesmerizing tonight, isn't he?
Hey, he's pitching like old Wandy when he was with Pittsburgh for a little bit right before he got hurt.
Well, as a pitcher, I'm sure you're enjoying, Matt, watching both Dan Herron and Wandy. I mean, Dan Herron's throwing the ball well tonight too.
Yeah, Danny's been real good. You know, what is he working through 5? Danny seems like he's pitched almost every day this year so far in spring training to get ready, and you know, he's been pitching real well for us, and you know, basically leading the staff. Hey, and for the record, I just picked up the headset because I wanted to hear you guys' voices after you got done with Jose's interview, and then Maddie put me on. That wasn't my fault.
Well, that's all right. We enjoy the opportunity. We've got a split telecast tonight, Matt. We'll lay it all out for you.
Oh yeah.
Tommy Hutton, I'm here, and Chip Carey, who does Atlanta Braves games.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going to both markets.
Like I said, I just wanted to hear you guys talk. Want to hear what you guys were talking about after.
So you don't care if we interview you or not?
Hey, I mean, yeah. I didn't like say, hey, I want to go on. I just said, hey, I said,
well, no,
what are they talking about over there?
Hey, how's your spring going, and how neat has it been watching this group come together?
It's been great. It's been great. I've got to deal with clowns like this guy over here and Ozuna all spring, and it's been going great. I'm healthy. I'm feeling good. Everything's going good. Getting along with everybody, and
well, you've obviously bonded with your new teammates.
This is what I get for starting it with Jose.
Now the squirt bottle. Nice. Jared Zaltalamaki of the batter. What's it like to get a chance to come back and pitch at home?
Oh, it's great. You carry an extra sense of pride whenever a team that you grew up going to games and watching and rooting for guys like Jeff Conine and Mike Lowell and Preston Wilson, all those kind of guys. So this is an added sense of pride because I get to wear what they were, the Florida Marlins, but now they are the Miami Marlins, and you take a little bit extra into it whenever you go to battle for these guys, and hometown, so you have to represent and be able to play with some guys that were that are from Florida as well, Mikey and D. Gordon. I'm not a left-handed hitter, dude. I'm not a left-handed hitter. Not ready.
Nice, looks good. And you also get to.
Oh, why'd you give me this?
And you also, Matt, get to move out of one of the great hitters' parks and pitch in one of the game's best pitchers' parks. That's got to be kind of nice to think about.
Get the bunt down. Cincinnati was a hitter-friendly ballpark. I actually enjoyed pitching there. It really makes you want to step your game up whenever you're pitching in that ballpark because one inning that score could go 5-0 in a heartbeat. So you really learn to keep the ball down and mix your pitches real well and throw everything for strikes. So grateful for that time to be able to pitch in that ballpark and and become a pitcher, not just a thrower. So it's going to be great to be able to pitch in a big ballpark like Miami and basically take from what I learned from pitching in Cincinnati and being able to incorporate that in a bigger ballpark.
That's actually a really good point because prior to Cincinnati, your home ballpark was San Diego. Another pretty good park to pitch in. Yeah, young and dumb. I was 21 when I first came up, so I decided 98 will get by and give up a lot of long balls at that ballpark. And got sent over to Cincinnati and found out real quick that the ball flies a lot more in that ballpark than it does in San Diego. So you have to change something and, working down, getting strike one, mixing the slider, mixing the changeup and the curveball over, really mixing pitches and stringing together, good sequences against great hitters. So I'm hoping we can take that over, to Marlins Park. Big ballpark. I've had some great success pitching against, the Marlins at that ballpark. So hopefully it just picks up where I left off.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, it must be a nice sense of relief, too, knowing you don't have to pitch to Christian Yelich and Marcell Ozuna and Giancarlo Stanton anymore. They're on your team now.
Yeah, don't forget that big guy. When in the offseason, when the offseason first came about, I had talks about free agency with my agents, and the first thing that we had discussed would be what would be some teams that I'd be interested in, maybe contacting or if they were to contact us, and one of them was, one of the top two was if not the top one, Miami, because of the young talent. You look at guys like Yelich and you watch them as a pitcher, you watch all the hitters and you see all the young guys that they have, Ozuna and Yelich, and then this clown here in front of me with Jose, and then you just look at the pitching staff that they had, and they had Eovaldi and they had Kohler, and you look at the way the pitching staff is, young, controllable arms with great talent, and what a better team to be with, and lo and behold, I get traded here, so I'm happy I'm here. In a sense, I get to come home. I hasn't been home for about 6-7 years, but I get to come home. I get to enjoy some great weather, do some great fishing, but also get to be around a great group of guys, great coaching staff, and a great front office.
Well, Matt, we wish you all the best. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your courage withstanding the shower of sunflower seeds and suntan lotion and water you had to work your way through. But good luck the rest of the way, and thanks for joining us tonight.
I appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you too.
Thanks, Matt.
Wandy Rodriguez just struck out Echeverria for the second out of the inning. He's got a leadoff walk, and now it looks like Reed Johnson's going to grab a bat and hit for Dan Herron, who went 5 innings of 4-hit 1-run ball tonight. Another good outing for Dan.
Yeah, he just continues to throw the ball well all spring, and Wandy Rodriguez has been impressive all night. Yet to give up a base hit, go along with 7 strikeouts.
Reed Johnson, another former Brave. Tried his stick in 2015 as a reserve player, pinch hitter, spare outfielder. Another great veteran guy in the clubhouse. And he's down a quick strike 0-1. Seven strikeouts so far for Wandy Rodriguez. He's walked 3 men in the game. To center. Well hit, but caught. Yuri Perez is there to make the play, and Wandy Rodriguez has thrown 5 no-hit innings at Miami tonight. He leads 1-0. Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Wandy Rodriguez, 5 no-hit innings for Atlanta. He leads Dan Herron 1-0. And Miami goes to its bullpen for the first time, and A.J. Ramos is on the pitch.
Just about every team, Chip, has a pitcher who's not a closer, who kind of comes in 6th inning, 7th inning, maybe 8th inning, and just does a terrific job, but nobody knows about it. A.J. Ramos is that guy for the Marlins. You see his numbers in the spring. But last year, A.J. Ramos in 68 games was 7-0 with a 2.11 earned run average. He's got a bulldog mentality. He's got a good live fastball, breaking ball, a changeup. And he's one of those relief pitchers who can give you more than 1 inning.
And in this era of specialization, that's worth its weight in gold, isn't it? If memory serves, he gave the Braves fits last year pitching in relief against Atlanta. And he's got Zolio Almonte leading off the Braves 6th. And a quick strike. 0-2. Is that where you think the game's changed the most, Tommy? All the power arms in Major League bullpens for the last 15 years or so?
There used to be, you could look at a bullpen, you could pick out one guy who threw 95, but nowadays a lot of bullpens, they run guys out there, every one of them throws 95.
And back up the middle, Echeverria. Funny spin. He hung with it. A nice scoop by Morse at first.
4, out number 1. Almonte retired.
One of the things we've seen Michael Morse do over first base a lot this spring, a guy who has played some first base, but the big guy is roamed around in left field and right field for the most part. But a lot of work with Perry Hill, Marlins infield instructor. And Michael Morse has good feet. He's got nice hands, and he's made a lot of real nice picks this year.
And we know he can really hit. And I know that makes Frank Manichino happy. And Frank's sitting downstairs with the microphone on. Good evening, Frank.
What's up, guys?
See, Frankie, we're talking about his fielding, and I didn't know you were on a headset. Could have been talking about his
here watching.
Nice group of guys to watch hit, huh?
Oh yeah. I'm getting to know a lot of the new guys, and it's been really enjoyable.
This is Andrelton Simmons, the Braves shortstop, and he takes low.
That's a good point, Frank. How do you approach a new hitter, let's say like a Morse or a Prado or even a D. Gordon, someone you've seen but you haven't really worked with yet? How do you approach that?
Well, I meet with them in the cage, and I just sort of watch and sit back and see what they do, ask a lot of questions, why they do what they do in their cage work, and then I just sit back and watch and, let them come to me and see, ask me some questions, and then we get together and I basically just learn their stuff and see how that goes, and then be ready for the questions when they come.
How do you work with a guy with as an unorthodox style as there is in the game as an Ichiro Suzuki?
Well, it's pretty funny because I've been trying to figure out how to talk to him and get to understand what he does, and I kind of do a lot of video on him, but you know what? That guy knows himself better than anybody. So I just tell him, hey, make sure you hit some more line drives to left field during batting practice. Make sure you let the ball get deep on the ball away. And that's it, and he just goes right to it and does it.
How's your Japanese? Have you been studying that the off season?
No, that's what the interpreter's for.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Ichiro, you can carry on a pretty good conversation, but yeah, you have a guy with 4,122 professional hits between Japan and the United States.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
And then you go from Ichiro to a man like Giancarlo Stanton and his massive power.
Well, no one works harder than Stanton. That guy's a perfectionist, and he's done a lot of work this year, shortening up his swing, shortening up his stride, and that's exactly where he needs to be, and he's really working hard on it. So it's going to be enjoyable to watch him actually shorten up his swing and stride.
Frank, sorry we had such a brief inning, but you guys got to get the hitting shoes on. Looking for your first hit tonight.
Okay, guys, take care.
Frank Manichino, Marlins hitting coach. We head to the home sixth. Tomorrow we've got more spring training coverage on Fox Sports South. Watch your Atlanta Braves as they go head-to-head with the Washington Nationals. The Braves and Nationals from Champion Stadium at Walt Disney World. Tomorrow at 1 Eastern on Fox Sports South. Braves and Nats always have a spirited rivalry. Might see Dan Uggla back in town. He's trying to make the National squad. The Braves will send Eric Stoltz to the mound. He's trying to win a starting job as well. Well, as we said, Tommy, you can't do any better than Wandy Rodriguez did tonight. 5 hitless innings as the Braves starter, and he'll give way to left-hander Luis Avilan as the top of the Miami order comes up here in the 6th inning.
Which is interesting because the Braves were involved in a no-hitter earlier this spring.
They no-hit the Astros, gave up a couple of runs, but they've got a chance for a second one in tonight's ball game. Wandy Rodriguez will make his way to the Atlanta clubhouse. Job well done. As Avilan will face Ichiro for the Marlins. If there is a question mark about the Braves bullpen so far this spring, Tommy, it has not been with the hard-throwing right-handers they have, but it's been the left-handed relief corps. They've really struggled mightily to retire left-handed hitters so far here in Florida.
You know, this day and age, and we were talking about it last inning, about some of the changes in the game over the years, and certainly one of the big ones is the specialist, and it usually is that lefty or sometimes the submariner right-hander, but a lefty specialist can have a nice career. And the name that comes to mind is Randy Choate, who at one time was a Marlin. Luis Avilan did a pretty good job last year for the Braves in his 62 appearances.
But only 43 innings for Avilan. It just seemed he was off from the opening bell for Atlanta last year. His stuff wasn't nearly as crisp as it was in 2013 when he was 5-0 with a 152 earned run average in 75 games. So the Braves really counting on him to be much more effective, because as we know, all the left-handed thunder that exists in the National League East, you got to have a guy from the left side of your bullpen and be effective if you're going to win.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I think a lot of times in a spring training game you can't match it up the way you'd like, but this is actually a scenario that's working out pretty well for Freddie Gonzalez, because he has Avilan out there facing Ichiro, a lefty, and Christian Yelich is on deck.
Ichiro slaps it towards short. Simmons fires on the run and got Ichiro by a step. Suzuki 0 for 3. There's the first out in the home 6th. And Avilan gets that first left-handed bat. Here's Yelich.
Normally, during a regular season game, you would probably see Avilan face Ichiro and Yelich, and then a move would be made to the bullpen. Not to say that the Braves won't do that here, because they do have activity in their bullpen with a right-hander, because Giancarlo Stanton's on deck.
Good crisp breaking ball from Luis Avilan. And there's the first Miami hit. You can see why Yelich hits .317 against lefties. That was sharply hit right back up the middle. And a man aboard in front of Giancarlo Stanton.
Well, the Marlins pick up their first hit tonight, and you're absolutely right. .285 was his batting average last year, but Christian Yelich, as you pointed out, Chip, .317 against lefties. One of the main reasons he hits lefties so well, he stays in there, he stays back, and he uses the center part of the diamond.
So Freddie Gonzalez will again go to his bullpen. A man aboard with Giancarlo Stanton coming up. Williams Perez will be the new Atlanta pitcher. We'll tell you about him when we come right back.
There's Williams Perez. He's the third Atlanta pitcher to work in tonight's ball game. Those are his very impressive numbers as a starting pitcher at AA. That's the Braves affiliate at Mississippi. He's got to face Giancarlo Stanton tonight. He pumped over a quick strike. Phil Gosselin is also checked in for the Braves. He takes over for Chris Johnson at third base. Happiest man in the Marlins dugout that Wandy Rodriguez is out of the game is Stanton. Wandy struck him out twice tonight.
Not too many times are you going to see a left-hander get Stanton the way Wandy Rodriguez did two times in a row.
High fly ball hammered toward left center field. Perez and Young on the run. Young can't make the play. Yelich on his way to third, and he'll beat the rack. Marlins have runners at second and third with one out. Young had to make a long run. He dropped it.
You know, the ball hung up there a lot longer than I thought it would, and maybe it surprised Eric Young Jr. He's there in time, should have made the catch. It'll probably be ruled an error. And once the ball is dropped, Christian Yelich, who has those nice long fluid strides, gets over to third. That's spring training, and Giancarlo Stanton gets a base hit. Why not?
And he gets the rest of the night off as Stanton will come out of the game, and Miami set up second and third with one out. I'll tell you who the pinch runner is in just a moment. First, Michael Morse. Morse has walked and struck out tonight.
Tyler Cole.
Tyler Colvin's a pinch runner.
I thought you knew all those former Cubs.
I know a lot of them. And some I wish I didn't. Tyler doesn't fall into that category, though. He's a good young player. So let's see what Morse can do. Little tight, even count.
These are situations that I really feel Michael Morse is going to find himself in, and if he keeps himself healthy, should have a very productive year.
Yeah, if he can just put the ball in play someplace, he's got a chance to bring home Yelich and tie it.
Had a big base hit, Game 7 of the World Series, broke a 2-2 tie. Big single. Hit a pinch hit home run in the 8th inning in the championship series. So a clutch hitter he's always been.
Let's try to keep that ball away from Morse. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Perez, 6 feet tall, 185 pounds, out of Venezuela. The Braves signed him as a non-drafted free agent in 2009. 84 minor league starts, 28 minor league wins, and a .343 career earned run average in the Braves system. He was the Mississippi Pitcher of the Year last year.
Well, you know, when you're 23 and you put up some pretty good numbers like that, you're going to get a good look.
Full count for Morse. And he lost him. Bases are loaded. So the Marlins got their first hit of the game here in the 6th inning. Now they have their first big threat. Bases loaded with one out. And Martin Prado. Don Kelly's going to pinch run for Morse at first base.
Very interesting the way guys approach spring training as far as their playing time. Usually going up until the last week, guys will want to get their 2-3 at bats, and then the changes will be made. The last week of spring training, you like to get your 4 ABs. You'd like to get in there for mostly the full game. Now in the past, I can remember players who would, even from the early part of spring training, would like to play all 9 innings and then have the next day off. then play 9, then have a day off.
Interesting.
And do it that way. Because they wanted to get those 4 or 5 ABs.
Well, this is a guy that wants his 4 ABs every night. Martin Prado. Bases loaded for him. One out, and he slashes one out of play.
And actually, I was talking to Mike Redmond a little bit about that before the game. We were talking about Stanton. And he said a few times and a number of times during the spring, Stanton and others won't make a road trip because, okay, you're 2 hours in a bus, you get your 3 ABs. He would rather have them stay, go back in a minor league game, and get 10 ABs.
Yeah, lead off every inning
do
if
it
you
that
want.
way.
Sure. One ball, one strike. A single, a double, and a walk. After Ichiro grounded out to start the inning.
Yankee fans didn't see Martin Prado a lot. But he hit .316 and 7 home runs during his time in the pinstripes. And they even know the kind of player he is. So do the Diamondback fans.
Two balls and a strike. In the air to right. And that's going to drop and fall behind Almonte, and a couple of runs are going to score. So Martin Prado delivers a shot to right that plates Yelich and Tyler Colvin. A dropped fly ball and a bloop hit to right gives Miami a 2-1 lead.
We got that fastball in a fastball situation. It looked like, again, a ball that was going to be caught. So the outfield defense has really let the Braves down in this inning, and it's given the Marlins a lead.
So 2-1 Miami. One ball, no strikes. Another chance for Almonte in right. He's going to catch that one. Tagging from third is Don Kelly, and he'll score without a play. A sacrifice fly makes it a 3-1 game. Scott Sizemore, the pinch runner, moves up to third base.
You hear the term, we talked about it earlier with Jace Peterson, about this guy's a ball player. You also hear the term, that's a professional at bat.
Yeah.
And that's what that was from Jeff Baker.
Just put it in play.
Got the job done. And the whole key to that is to get a pitch that you can do that to, and he got a breaking ball that was up.
So Saltalamacchia, the batter, he looks for his first hit. 3 runs across in the Miami 6th. One of the runs charged to Luis Avila. The other 2 to Williams Perez, who's the second pitcher of the inning. Nothing in 2. Sizemore 90 feet away.
Yeah, this is the inning that Mike Redmond has been able to utilize a lot of extra players. some pinch runners. So Scott Sizemore came in to run for Prado. Saw Don Kelly come in. Tyler Colvin came in.
And that'll take care of Saltalamacchia and Miami. But a couple of drops in the Atlanta outfield proved costly. Miami cashes them in for 3 runs and a 2-run lead heading to the 7th. There's a look at Mike Dunn, former Brave, now with the Marlins. And he'll be the 3rd Miami pitcher of the evening. Good work for Mike in a busy year, Tommy. 75 outings for Mike Dunn.
We talk about durability and pieces to a bullpen. Mike Dunn has been durable. Never been on the disabled list. Not only did he appear in 75 games, he had 16 decisions. He was 10-6. So a good job. Can get both lefties and righties out. And right now, he's the main left-hander out of the Marlins bullpen. Brad Hand could join him if he doesn't pitch in the rotation. And the Marlins also have a Rule 5 pitcher in camp, a lefty, Andrew McCurahan. A lot of changes. We'll get you caught up. Chip, I'll get you caught up this inning.
I'll take care of the first 2. Baker's at first. Don Kelly's at second. I know that much. And we know Dunn's pitching to Yuri Perez to start the Atlanta 7th.
And Echeverria, Chip, is still at short. Got a new man behind the plate. It looks like Jonathan Solano, Donovan's brother.
Perez showed bunt.
And just to help you out a little bit, Chip, Scott Sizemore's over at 3rd.
Thank
he
you.
came in to pinch run.
All right.
He's at 3rd. Got a new left fielder, Chad Gillespie.
A little low. 2 balls and a strike.
And I'm going to wait till you write these down.
Okay.
Giovanni Valdespin moves into play center field. And Tyler Colvin, who we saw as a pinch runner, is in right field.
You are in midseason form. Perfectly done. As
with a lot of help from our staff up here.
Perez takes low, 3 balls and a strike.
Because, see, this is the way managers have to think at spring training. Because Echeverria didn't bat last inning, he stays in to get another inning of defense. I'm sure he'll come out after he gets his at bat.
Perez didn't like that call, thought it was high. Instead, he's got a full count. Swing and a miss. So Dunn rallies from a 3-1 count to strike out Perez, and that's how the 7th inning begins. 1 down.
One thing that Mike Dunn has always possessed, and that's a live arm. You know, he originally signed a professional contract as a position player, signed with the Yankees. Didn't take long for somebody to see that arm and get him on the mound.
Here's Jesus Flores, Braves catcher tonight, 0 for 2. And he drives one toward right. Colvin is there and has it. 2 down. Again, Christian Bethancourt, the young Braves catcher, was to have made the trip to Jupiter, but he's got a fever, flu-like symptoms, I should say. And Freddie Gonzalez said stay back in Orlando. It's hoped he'll be able to participate in some action tomorrow. But Jesus Flores made the trip south with the club and is in harness tonight.
Well, and as we talked about earlier, Freddie Gonzalez and his ball club, the Braves, they'll spend the night here in the area and take on the St. Louis Cardinals in a ball game tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, Chin-Ming Wong will take the ball for the Braves. Trying to make a bid for one of the rotation spots for Atlanta as Phil Gosselin hits for the first time.
This is a great facility here at Roger Dean Stadium, shared by both the Marlins and the Cardinals. I always think it's kind of nice to have another team because, of course, the Marlins and Cardinals play 7 or 8 times during the spring, but that's nice. They're all home games.
Yeah, and with the Nationals and Astros set to move from their spring training homes, as Gosselin has another base hit. He's had an impressive spring for Atlanta. Braves will be all by their lonesomes in Orlando here in the next couple of years. The closest team to the Braves about 2017 is going to be over in Lakeland, the Tigers.
Yeah, it's not one of those things that's everything's been signed and official, but it appears that by 2017 both the Astros and the Nationals will be about 4 exits south on 95 in West Palm Beach, maybe 20 minutes away. So it'll be nice to have 4 teams in that real close vicinity.
Here's Eric Young Jr. He's 1 for 3 tonight and takes a little low, ball 1. Yeah, with all the travel teams do in the major leagues, not having to be on a bus for 2-3 hours every road trip in the spring is a real luxury. So yeah,
especially for those big guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, during the regular season, you got to be fired up about the new Marlins team airplane.
Yeah, it's I've not seen it. I've seen renderings. I've seen some pictures, but a new charter plane that's going to have 84 first-class seats. I understand a massage table, but off limits to the broadcasters.
You got to work a deal with somebody, man. 2 balls, no strikes. If I read the same story, I believe the Marlins travel more air miles in the National League, and the second most miles in baseball, I think, to the Mariners. Is that
Mariners
correct?
are number 1. The Marlins and Padres are always in there as far
Oakland
as
probably too.
Travel miles. And you know, kudos to the organization, to owner Jeffrey Loria and David Sampson, the president, for realizing that the travel is, yes, it's charter flights, and it's hard to relay that to people who fly on commercial airlines, but there's some crazy hours and long flights, and so they've taken that and they said, okay, we want to make this as comfortable as possible. They've hired a chef to prepare some healthy meals, not only on the plane but at home in the clubhouse. So they're doing everything possible to get their players to be as healthy as possible, to stay healthy. And I think if you look around baseball, you see every spring training camp players that are going down with injuries. It's a long season. It's a marathon. It's 162 games in 183 days. And the team that stays healthy has a chance.
And every little thing a team can do to help that is appreciated, that's for sure. As Jace Peterson gets a 4th at bat tonight, he's 0 for 2 with a walk. Dunn's got a little trouble here in the 7th inning, 2 on with 2 out. Jace Peterson, A terrific athlete. He was a defensive back with McNeese State in the college football ranks. Now trying to be the Braves starting second baseman. And he walks that outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
And a big test certainly for a young player. We'll see how his approach is as a left-handed hitter, how he hangs in there against lefty pitchers.
Two and one. John Buck has grabbed a bat. He's in the on-deck circle and would hit next if Peterson can reach.
Thing about Peterson, too, mostly in the minor leagues, a shortstop.
He's not going to play shortstop in Atlanta.
No, he's not.
Andrelton Simmons.
He's a smart kid. He's learned how to play second base.
But talking with Freddie Gonzalez about what he thinks the makeup of this club will be, this will be maybe the most flexible roster he's ever had as a major league manager. He'll have a handful of players who can play multiple positions defensively this year. Peterson could play short, second, first in a pinch, and third base. 3 balls and a strike. Pitcher's pitch and a tough one. Full count.
Certainly not a pitch you want to go after on a 3-1 pitch. Yeah, and in the case of Peterson, a first-round pick of the Padres came over in the Justin Upton deal. So part of the transition period for John Hart and his staff.
Gosselin at second, Young at first. They'll be running with a full count. There they go. And strike 3 over the inside corner. Peterson shakes his head no. He was on his way to first base, but Mike Dunn struck him out, strands a pair, and sends us to the stretch. 3-1, Miami the lead. A-list memberships today and receive a Saturday meet and greet with all-star closer Craig Kimbrell. This sale ends tonight at midnight, and A-list memberships start at just $218. Go to Braves.com/A-list and reserve your seats for the upcoming season today. Craig Kimbrell with that distinctive sign take on the mound. And after the 7th inning stretch here in Jupiter, Florida, Marlins 3, Braves 1. Changes for Atlanta. There's a familiar face for Marlins fans, John Buck. He'll take over for Freddie Freeman at first base. Williams Perez back out there on the mound for Atlanta. And Danny Echeverria will indeed get a third at bat for Miami. He'll lead things off.
I think Williams Perez hoping he gets a little better help in his outfield.
That was an ugly
in this inning.
Ugly 6th. A couple of drops. A bouncing ball up the middle and through. Simmons couldn't get it. And it's a base hit for Echeverria to start the Miami 7th.
That's an area, Chip, in Danny Echeverria's game that really improved from 2 years ago. Last year he raised his average all the way to 276. And with the defense he plays, that's all you need. His power, 1 home run, but a big ballpark. He had 20 doubles and 10 triples, and certainly played terrific defense.
Here's Reed Brignac. Tommy mentioned his name earlier tonight. Brignac trying to make the club. Looking at his numbers and his slash line on the screen, 6 RBIs and a .350 average. He certainly helped himself at the plate, you'd think.
He really has. He has shown versatility. One thing he can do, he can play shortstop, which is important to have someone if Echeverria goes down with an injury for any length of time. He's a left-handed bat. That helps.
A former Devil Ray. For you young fans who know of the Tampa Bay Rays, in their early days they were known as the Devil Rays.
He had a nice year with Tampa back in 2010.
Slashed out a play foul, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Hit 256 in 110 games, had 8 home runs. Ryan Morris getting ready. Another good arm in that Marlins bullpen.
One ball, 1 strike. Runner goes. The pitch, a strike. The throw to second is off the glove of Andrelton Simmons. And Echeverria has a stolen base.
A lot of times we'll tell you that runner steals the bag off the pitcher, but I believe a good throw right there gets Echeverria, but the throw really tailed on Flores, and even Andrelton Simmons couldn't come up with it.
I sure hope we see more stolen bases in the game. I love the speed game. I grew up in St. Louis watching the Cardinals and Willie McGee and
back
Vince
in the
Coleman
80s.
Run around on the AstroTurf. Home runs are great, but boy, that speed game puts so much pressure on an opposing defense, and the old adage, it never slumps.
Well, you know, I always disagree with that. It does if you don't get on first base.
True. True. Good point.
But I think we've seen the changes in the game since hopefully total end of the steroid era and the HGH and the guys muscling up and hitting home runs and all the strikeouts. And I think we've seen the game transition a little bit back into those 70s and 80s periods where speed and where the fundamentals. And I think we saw it a lot in the World Series. Kansas City, perfect example. The second fewest home runs in the National League, the Giants. So 2 teams who didn't hit home runs played in the World Series.
Ground ball right side. A productive at bat for Reed Brignac. It's a big league at bat. He gets Echeverria to third with 1 out. And you know, Brignac will be greeted by his Marlins teammates when he gets to the dugout for that effort. And the first man to greet him is his skipper, Mike Redmond. Good at bat. Now the Atlanta infield comes in with 1 out.
That's always an at-bat that coaches and the manager will remember when they have that meeting when they start making cuts. Because you can't just tell by looking at the stat sheet. Go, hey, so-and-so had a couple of games where he did this, where he did that to help us win games.
Yeah, big difference between an out and a productive out.
That's a hard thing to take to the arbiter,
right?
In arbitration. Unfortunately.
Good job by Brignac. Infield in for Jordani Valdespin. 1 on, 1 out. Slash toward third, off the glove of Phil Gosselin into shallow left field. That'll be a hit and a run. So Valdespin gets the RBI, but gives some of that good work to Reed Brignac. Echeverria scores to make it 4-1 Miami.
That's a great point, because with the infield in, your thought process changes greatly as a hitter. And if the infield is back because the runner's at second, now you're saying, well, a base hit, got to get a base hit to bring a guy in. The infield comes in, man at third. All of a sudden, there are many other ways that you can get that run in.
Here's Gillespie, and he looks inside, ball one. Cole Gillespie, 211 mark this spring. That's downstairs. 2 balls, no strikes. Baseball got us scared today. We understand out west, Clayton Kershaw was hit in the face by a batted ball today. Kershaw was down for a couple of minutes, but escaped with nothing but a chipped tooth. Boy, you think about how devastating that could have been to the Dodgers and really to baseball as well. I mean, arguably the best left-hander in the game. Kershaw hit today while facing the Oakland Athletics out west.
Wow, there was a moment of silence in the Los Angeles area, I'm sure.
Man.
But good news, just a chipped tooth out of it.
Meanwhile, back in the National League East, more bad news for the Mets. They have had a real rough spring, losing Josh Edgin, Zach Wheeler to Tommy John surgery. It looks like Danny Murphy's got a bad hamstring. He may have to start the year on the DL. A season that was filled with so much promise for New York and still very well could be, but not the way you want to come out of spring training with 3 principal parts of your ball club. 2 of them at least lost for the season. 1 of them sore-legged.
Boy, Daniel Murphy, a solid player.
3 balls and a strike for Gillespie, and he takes a ball inside, and 2 are on with 1 out. And Tyler Colvin will be the batter. First to visit for Braves pitching coach Roger McDowell.
Roger McDowell, a guy that I certainly remember as a pitcher, tremendous relief pitcher for the Mets. Didn't know at that time that he would go on to be one of the game's well-respected pitching coaches. He does a terrific job.
Yeah, you might remember, young fans don't know this, may have seen Roger in the Seinfeld episode on TV. No, he was a happy-go-lucky player, great sense of humor, still has a great sense of humor, but as a coach, all business and very, very highly respected in the Braves organization, and justifiably so.
Speaking of Seinfeld, did you read the article about Ken Phelps and Jay Buhner getting together in the Seattle Mariner camp? Which was another famous Seinfeld episode. How could you trade Jay Buhner?
George Costanza, right?
And the 2 of them got together and were on one of the Seattle telecasts.
With a bouncing ball foul at first by Tyler Colvin, a strike. Boy, Jay Buhner was some kind of player. Great hitter in the Kingdome, terrific right fielder. He and Ken Griffey Jr. teamed up in the outfield in Seattle during their glory years when Lou Piniella had the Kingdome rocking out west.
Well, that place could get noisy, too.
Man.
The Kingdome and the Metrodome.
No balls and a strike for Tyler Colvin. 4-1. Marlins have the lead. Fly ball to center. Yuri Perez is there. He's got it. Valdespin will tag and head to third. Ball's cut off. 2 out. And Don Kelly a chance to hit. He was a pinch runner back in the 6th inning and scored a run.
I think when you talk about versatile players, and we've seen both of them tonight, Don Kelly and Reed Brignac, one of those 2 is probably going to make this Marlins ball club. Unfortunately, one won't. And that's what spring training is about for a lot of guys. A lot of guys, it's about just getting in shape and getting ready for the season to begin.
But hey, there are 29 other teams that you know are watching every single one of these players. And an opportunity that may go by the boards here might lead to an opportunity to play somewhere else.
I'll never forget a coach or a manager somewhere along the line made that exact mention to me one time in spring training. Don't worry about things don't work out in this club. There are a lot of scouts in the stands, and you and I see them all the time at spring training games.
Gillespie took second base. Williams Perez never looked at him at first base. An easy swipe for him.
You don't think the Mets right now, knowing that Daniel Murphy might be missed for a while, or out there looking for a possible middle infielder?
Or the Braves, who
are looking for a utility guy or an outfield player. Somebody like that might fit into their plans down the road. Who knows? So Don Kelly now, 2 balls and a strike. 2 aboard for him in the home 7th. Story of the night, though, for both clubs. They wanted to see Dan Herron get a good start for Miami. They wanted the same for Wandy Rodriguez for Atlanta. And Tommy, both guys came through in fine fashion.
Yeah, if you look at a storyline, that's certainly what we talked about in our open tonight. And both pitchers were outstanding. Wandy Rodriguez didn't give up a base hit.
Struck out 7 in his 5 innings. And Dan Herron, 4 strikeouts, 4 hits, only 1 run in his 5 strong frames tonight. So both those guys look like they're just about ready for the opening bell April 6th. That'll be the Braves and the Marlins down in Miami.
Now, who do the Braves play the second series?
The Braves go home and they've got the Mets.
Because the Marlins have an interesting situation. They play the Braves, 3-game series, have an off day. Then they take on the Tampa Bay Rays.
Second series is interleague.
Series.
Oh, nice. The Braves aren't far behind. The Braves have the Mets, then you guys back in Atlanta, then we go to Toronto.
And the next time the Marlins see the Rays is the last week of the season.
Wow. How does that happen? Bouncing ball to the right side, and that'll take care of Miami in the 7th inning. Another run across for the Fish. We go to the 8th. Mike Redmond's club in command, 4-1. Game 2 in this back-to-back series between the Braves and the Marlins. Things going better for the fellas from Miami tonight. They lead 4-1. And now Brian Morris is on to pitch. He becomes the 4th hurler of the night for Miami.
You see those numbers for the right-hander Brian Morris. Those are combined numbers because he was with Pittsburgh at the beginning of the year and then came over in a trade, and he pitched beautifully for both clubs. You talk about a live arm, good fastball, and a hard slider. Morris was 4-0 with the Pirates and 4-1 with an 0.66 ERA as a Marlin.
And he'll face John Buck leading off the Atlanta 8th. Rifled towards center, right at Jordani Valdespin. He's got it, and there's the first out. That ball might have been knuckling a bit. It was hit right on the screws, but out. 1 down.
It's one of those balls that you don't see as a left fielder or right fielder. Left field from a right hand, it's going to be hooking, slicing out to right field. But you see that ball that has that knuckling effect sometimes in center field.
Here's Olo Almonte, 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of groundouts and a strikeout. Marlins were down 1-0. Big inning for the Fish was the 6th. A couple of dropped fly balls in the Atlanta outfield led to 3 runs. Now bouncing ball out to short. That one's dropped. And Almonte will reach on a Kelly error. And that'll bring up Joey Turdoslavich for Atlanta.
Pretty routine play. Remember when Don Kelly came in the game, he was at second. He moved over to short and just bobbles it as he tried to backhand and make the throw.
Here's Joey Turdoslavich. Turdoslavich in the running for one of the Atlanta outfield spots. Turdoslavich hitting .303 this spring, a homer, 7 RBIs. 6 doubles for Turdoslavich this spring. One downside, 11 strikeouts and 33 at bats. No balls at a strike. And now 0-2. We talked earlier about Kevin Seitzer, the new Braves hitting coach. Shorten your stroke, put it in play with 2 strikes. Let's see if Turdoslavich can do that here for Atlanta.
Now the Marlins saw a little bit of Turdoslavich last year. Florida guy, went to high school over on the other coast, over in Sarasota.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
And his uncle was a pretty good hitter, Mike Greenwell.
Swing and a miss. Morris got Turdoslavich. And there's out number 2.
That's the thing about the way Brian Morris works. When he stays down with his fastball and slider, it's good against lefties and righties. Look at the ball. Just the bottom falls out of it. That's one of a pitch that's a slider, but it almost backs up. That's a tough pitch.
So 2 outs. This Marlins bullpen is dealing tonight. They've done a good job in relief of Dan Herron. 2 2/3 scoreless work. And Williams Perez. Braves want to extend him, stretch him out a bit. Get an extended look at him tonight. Let him face the Marlins again in the 8th.
I think you also, because you have a traveling team in the Braves who are over here, and we've mentioned a couple of times they stay over to play the Cardinals. Freddie Gonzalez doesn't have a roster that the Marlins have for this one.
Right.
And as you pointed out, he wants to see Perez pitch another inning.
Well, he also wants to see something you almost never have happen in the major leagues. You could have a back-to-back Perez sequence on the scorecard. Yuri Perez is waiting on deck. And Eddie Perez, the Braves bullpen coach, is also here. A ground out to second sends our game to the bottom of the 8th inning. 4-1. Miami leads the lead.
It is spring 2015. Kids having a great time out on the berm here at Roger Dean Stadium. They've seen a well-pitched game. Marlins lead it 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. New shortstop on for Atlanta. Sean Kazmar will take over for Andrelton Simmons. Williams Perez will labor on for Atlanta from the mound. And he'll get a little extra time if he needs it to throw his first pitch. The between innings pitch clock has expired, but he's the man that made the last out of the inning offensively.
Yeah, I think there will be leeway in that situation, which comes up every once in a while.
What do you think of the pace of game idea?
Well, I think, and I think the way you put it is the right way. The pace of game. It's not so much the time of game; it's the pace of game. And I think a few little tweaks here and there, and I think we'll see a bit of a difference.
Have you seen?
Hard to tell in spring training.
I was going to ask, has there been much of an emphasis in the spring? Most of the games are 3 hours because of all the changes. And
yeah, I think the emphasis has been the players have had meetings and they're aware of some of the things that they have to do and are asked to do. And I think that's been important. I think guys who take time maybe are going to still take time, but maybe a little less time.
Yeah, Braves president John Schuerholz is on the committee that is in charge of replay and the time of game procedures as Sizemore leads off with a base hit to left. And I thought John said it, as he always does, very eloquently and correctly. It's not the objective of ours, he said, to achieve a dramatic time restriction right away. It's more important that we develop a culture of better habits and a structure with more exact timings for non-game action.
Yeah, and I think it's something that starts in the minor leagues, and it starts as players come up as young players. And it's just as we saw replay last year, it's going to take time. It's going to take a few years before the system is perfect. It might never be perfect.
Bouncing ball to Kazmar, who bobbles it, throws to second, but still got his man. Sizemore is forced for out number 1. So Baker aboard with 1 out. And here's Solano. Jonathan Solano gets it at bat here in the 8th.
All right.
Steve Cishek up in the Marlins bullpen.
Just trying to help you out here, Chip. Austin Nola has come in to pinch run.
Austin Nola?
Yeah.
Where's he slated to play this year? Is he going to be AAA guy?
He's probably going to be in NOLA in New Orleans.
He's going to wear his home city on his back unless he makes the big league club. 1 ball, no strikes for Solano.
It's a fun moment the other day in a game here with Jonathan Solano driving a base hit and picking up an RBI and putting the Marlins ahead, driving in his brothers.
Brought home Donovan?
Brought home Donovan.
Two balls, no strikes. And that's a fair ball down the left field line. And headed for the corner. Baker around third. He'll get the green light. He's going to score standing up. Solano with a 1-out double. Makes it a 5-1 game. Who scored, not Baker. My apologies.
They're accepted here in spring training.
As my dad used to say,
it's spring training for the announcers too.
And right down the left field line.
Good hitting by Jonathan. So you get a second chance in spring training.
And Nola comes around and scores. Standing up. 5-1. Now activity begins in the Braves bullpen. As that one's shot in the right field for a base hit. Solano will be stopped at third.
And the Marlins have him at the corners now with one out.
And as quickly as Vinny Rotino stepped in to hit, he banged out a base hit to right field. It didn't take him long.
And Perez might be working on fumes right now. He's thrown a lot of pitches in the 6th, 7th, and now the 8th innings. But again, the Braves want to get an extended look at this kid, see what they've got. Terrific pitcher in Double-A. Going to face a few big league hitters here in Jupiter tonight.
Well, and he had an opportunity to get a double play ball, but the ball that was bobbled at short by Kazmar turned into a force out. No error charge, but certainly was a double play ball.
Big swing and a miss for Reed Brignac. "51 pitches for Perez over 2 1/3 worth of work." And slashed out a play, foul, 0-2. Victor Mateo's the man loosening for Atlanta. There's a sinker for a strike. Pretty pitch, and Brignac took it and is down on strikes.
Every once in a while you get a pitch that had good movement, kind of froze. Brignac just couldn't pull the trigger.
You know, it's spring training. You want to tip your cap, you just can't bring yourself to do it. I mean, that was an outstanding pitch.
How many times? Well, it just pitched right there. I'm just thinking about how many times did Braves fans see Greg Maddux freeze a hitter with that same pitch?
Right, and they just helpless, right? By the way, there's a big year for one of the Braves' big three. John Smoltz is going into the Hall of Fame for Atlanta this year.
You guys are really privileged. You and Joe Simpson, you get to work with Hall of Famers. You get John Smoltz. You get Tom Glavine.
Yeah, we have to listen to Smoltz jokes, so I don't know how privileged we are. But yeah, John's terrific.
Boy, well, certainly well deserved.
Thrilled for him. When you think about the run that the Braves had, you have Maddux, Smoltz, Glavine, Bobby Cox all go in. Chipper Jones will be next in a couple of years. It's easy to understand why when Mike Hill was here, he was talking about with envy those 14 championship banners that the Braves had. Those guys were all obviously hugely instrumental in that.
How does Chipper show up very often at the ballpark?
He comes around every now and then.
Tell him to show up when the Marlins are in town. We'd like to see him.
Yeah, he spends a lot of time at his Double Dime Ranch in Texas. And catches a game or two back in Atlanta from time to time. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's just foul past first. There's some who think Chipper would make an outstanding big league hitting coach at some point. But Chipper still has young kids at home, so he's enjoying time with them.
There's an outstanding coach right there. Terry Pendleton.
Played for both the Braves and the Marlins. One ball, 2 strikes for Jordani Valdespin. That just missed. 2-2. Well, 2015 promises to be an exciting year for these two franchises. The Braves embarking a little bit more on the unknown. The Marlins look to make a big step forward as we head to inning number 9. It's 5-1 Fish.
Steve Cishek gets a chance to tune up tonight. Hold down at the bottom of the Atlanta order as he goes to the 9th inning. This guy has got a funky delivery, and boy is he effective. Look at those numbers for the Fish last year.
Quietly, he has become one of the top relievers, one of the top closers in the game in the National League. Certainly, you see the saves, 39 last year and 43 opportunities, 91 saves in his career. And Steve Cishek, just 28 years old.
And as you see, good work against the Braves. The first baseman, Vinny Rotino, stays in the game. And the first base bag for the top of the 9th inning. Yuri Perez, Jesus Flores, and then Phil Gosselin for Atlanta, which trails 5-1.
Well, one of the other things you really like and appreciate about Steve Cishek at the end of games, if you go back the last 4 years, over 250 innings, he's allowed just 10 home runs. So he keeps the ball in the ballpark, especially when he keeps all of his stuff knee high and below.
And I would think from a hitter's perspective, Tom, you don't see the ball at all from this guy. A lot of elbows,
especially if you're a right-handed hitter.
Right. Up and away. A ball and 2 strikes. Tommy mentioned the 91 lifetime saves, 6 years for Cishek.
I think an area we've talked a lot about both clubs, and I think one of the areas that is not talked about as much with the Marlins is their bullpen. So much focus on the outfield, focus on the new acquisitions.
Popped up.
But it's a very solid bullpen. Some guys with some good arms and some guys with track records.
And you know as well as anyone the way that Major League games are played and managed now. They really are managed and played from the 9th inning forward, not the first inning back. If you feel like you have a lead in the 7th inning, you just mix and match and get to your closer in the 9th inning. Braves have Craig Kimbrell. The Marlins have Steve Cishek and a whole lot of power arms to try to protect that late inning lead.
Well, and I think we've seen a perfect example of that tonight in A.J. Ramos, Mike Dunn, Brian Morris, and now Cishek.
Right. In many ways, it's become a 6-inning game in the major leagues. If you don't have the lead by then, it's tough to come back. As Flores dumps one in front of Colvin and right, he's got a 1-out hit, his first of the night. And Phil Gosselin scheduled next for the Braves.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things, Chip, you say like it or not, it is the way the game has gone. I mean, would we like to see starters go deeper in games? Sure. But it's not the way the game is played now.
No. We just saw the Yankees the other day up in Orlando and New York with the injuries to CeCe Sabathia and Masahiro Tanaka. They're toying with the idea of time to time going with a 6-man starting rotation to give Tanaka an extra day of rest to protect his elbow.
Which might be more comfortable for him because in Japan they pitch once a week.
That's correct. And he said to Joe Girardi that 5th day came awfully fast last year. A big adjustment. Sharply hit towards second. Might be 2. And it is. And the Marlins have beaten the Braves by a final score of 5-1 tonight. Miami took advantage of some shaky Atlanta outfield defense in the 6th inning as Miami evens up the season series at a game apiece. Herron looked good. Wandy Rodriguez looked good. And the Marlins offense looked very good at home as well. We'll talk more about that. Wrap things up for you from Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter after this.